For the first time in modern history, Iran claims it directly struck the political heart of Israel, including the Prime Minister's office in Jerusalem. This is no longer a shadow war fought through proxies. It is a declared missile exchange between two states long restrained by unspoken red lines. And if that red line has truly collapsed, the entire security architecture of the Middle East may now be entering its most dangerous phase in decades. For years, Tehran applied pressure indirectly, relying on Hezbollah, Hamas, and regional militias to avoid open state-to-state confrontation. That strategy preserved strategic ambiguity while maintaining escalation control. But the reported ballistic missile launch by the IRGC toward Israel's government complex signals a structural shift in doctrine. Targeting the administrative core of a nuclear-armed state carries immense symbolic weight beyond physical damage. It communicates intent. Iran is prepared to strike leadership nodes, not just peripheral military targets. Iranian state media claimed thousands of missiles were mobilized across the region, a number still requiring independent verification. Even if inflated, the scale suggests a saturation strategy designed to pressure Israel's multi-layered air defense system. Israel operates Iron Dome, David's Sling, and Arrow systems to intercept threats from short-range rockets to long-range ballistic missiles. Yet even advanced defense networks have throughput limits when faced with simultaneous mass launches. Modern missile warfare is often less about accuracy and more about overwhelming defensive capacity. If high-velocity or maneuverable variants were included, interception complexity increases exponentially. The central question is no longer whether missiles can be launched, but whether deterrence itself can survive the scale of exposure. Israel's response was immediate and calculated, large-scale airstrikes deep inside Iranian territory. The objective was not only retaliation, but restoration of deterrence credibility after a direct strike on its political core. In Israeli security doctrine, deterrence survives only if the cost imposed on the attacker clearly outweighs the initial gain. Some analysts suggest Israel may pursue a limited decapitation strategy targeting IRGC command infrastructure. That would shift the battlefield from symbolic messaging to structural degradation of Iran's operational capacity. But this confrontation does not exist in isolation. The United States is structurally entangled in the regional security matrix. American bases in Qatar, the UAE, Bahrain, and Iraq were placed on heightened alert as escalation risks widened. Carrier strike groups operating in the region now face a multi-vector defense calculus unprecedented in recent years. Washington must balance two conflicting imperatives: protect allies while avoiding entry into another full-scale Middle Eastern war. Domestic political considerations further complicate that calculation, particularly in an election-sensitive environment. If Iran truly mobilized thousands of missiles region-wide, the strategy may extend beyond Israel toward pressure on U.S. assets. In attrition warfare, economics become decisive. Interceptor missiles are expensive and inventories are finite. Sustained defensive posture can quietly erode stockpiles, budgets, and long-term readiness even without territorial loss. Energy markets now sit at the center of this escalation, especially if the Strait of Hormuz faces disruption risk. When geopolitics, oil flows, and military signaling intersect, regional conflict rapidly transforms into global economic exposure. Beyond missiles and airstrikes, this conflict now intersects with great power competition and global supply chains. Iran is not only a military actor, it is a pivotal energy node whose oil exports increasingly flow toward Asian markets, particularly China. Any sustained disruption could amplify volatility in already fragile global energy balances. If maritime routes expand into the Red Sea or broader Gulf corridors, naval deployments will multiply and operational costs will surge. Prolonged tension transforms regional conflict into systemic economic strain. At the same time, internal stability within Iran becomes a critical variable under sustained military pressure. When leadership structures face external threat, hardline factions often consolidate rather than compromise. That dynamic increases the probability of escalation as a tool of domestic cohesion. A particularly sensitive concern involves strategic missile and nuclear infrastructure. Even speculative signals of compromised control over such assets would trigger immediate global alarm. Analysts therefore outline three primary scenarios shaping the months ahead. Scenario 1. Full regional war, with allied militias across Lebanon, Iraq, Syria, and beyond entering coordinated combat. Scenario 2. Prolonged but limited exchange, sustained missile and air operations without major ground invasion. Scenario 3. An unspoken equilibrium after both sides demonstrate sufficient force to reset deterrence thresholds. Whatever path emerges, this moment may redefine not just Iran-Israel relations, but the broader architecture of Middle Eastern security for years to come.